All right, traders, welcome to the AMA for the VABO Algo. VABO. You say VABO, I say VABO. I don't know how to say it, but you say it however you want. That's fine. But anyway, welcome. We're going to be going over more details on how to use the system, how to optimize the system, how to get the most out of it, and so on. So this will be a formal training event. We'll go through everything. So before we dive in, of course, we do have to post our disclaimer. We can't guarantee results. Products and services are for educational purposes. All right, so we'll go through the signals a little bit here. Really, it's pretty straightforward with this one. If most of you are familiar with volume profiles. You've probably done some studying on, that's not going to work. You're not going to be able to see that color. Hang on. So volume profiles, what is a volume profile? It's the study of volume. Where does volume come in on the chart? Not based on time, which is what we're kind of used to seeing at the bottom of the chart, but volume profile, it's referencing the volume at each price level. Naturally, some levels are going to have more volume transacted at that price, and so that's going to create the value area. The value area is where most of the volume, or at least a majority of the volume, took place during that session. Now, most volume profiles are referenced on a daily basis, right? You've got your daily volume profile. So for the day, you're looking at, what was, the typical volume profile might look something like that, right? And you would know that a bulk of the volume took place in here. This would be known as the value area. Okay, so the value area is usually set to about 70% of the total volume for that profile. Okay, so in here, we've got the value area high and the value area low. Naturally, it's just the edges of the value area. Okay, when we break above or below the value area and we close, this provides a signal with this system. Okay, so you can look to trade these with this system, and there's a real edge to it because it's volume based. All right, so here we can see we've got the close above the value area, market entered at bar close. So as soon as that bar closes, it enters the market going long, and the stops then are also going to be based on the value area levels. Okay, so we'll look at that here in a second, but here's the short. We've got the break of the value area low, close below, and then entry, it would be here, and then going short. So the beauty of this system is you're letting the system tell you which direction to trade, which is great because it's based on volume, which, volume is the market. So that works well. As far as stop placement, stop is going to go based on the value area levels as well, if you want it to. Of course, you have static ticks, you have ATR, so on. So here's an example. So we've got, we closed above the value area high. Entry would be at bar close. So the stop, we can either put a distance beyond the value area high. We could do a distance, give or take, from the point of control, or give or take from the value area low. Okay, so the point of control is the level with the most volume, okay, and it is one level. The point of control is one level, typically would be set to 1 tick, depending on your market, maybe an NQ, you might even set that to like 4 ticks, but the point of control is the level that had the most volume in that volume profile, okay? All right, so here's another example of a long. I think this might even be the same one, but we closed above right here, entered at bar close, stop went below the point of control, and there's the target. Okay, and targets you can set based on risk reward, ticks, or ATR, which is great as well. And then here's the short, right? Close below, entry, stop went above. In this case, went above value area high. Could have been based on value area high, or it could have been based on the point of control. It's just so happened that the buffer beyond the point of control was enough to actually be above value area high. Okay, so that's an idea. Okay, so that pretty much covers it for the signals. I mean, there's really not too much to it in terms of the signal. So what we're going to do now is we'll go through what the settings are and what they do and how they work. Okay, so we'll just kind of stay here. We'll just park it because we've got a long and a short, so that's great. So we can even just move that out of our way. So no, Daniel, it's only set to go long above and short below. Yeah, because it's a breakout. Let's see. Cool. So let's go into the settings and we're going to break down everything. Yeah, absolutely. Send it to me directly. I'll be happy to look at it for you. It's just jim@neurostreet.com. Yeah, we have, and that goes for anybody, guys. We do these events and we show you how to optimize and all these things. And sometimes, traders go to optimize and it just, they spend some time doing it and it's just not hitting for them. You can always send in templates to have us check them out. I mean, now if I get completely overloaded, I will let you know. Granted, usually there's it takes me a few days or something to check them out, but you're welcome to send them in. Like we want to help. Now, obviously, we can only do so much because we only have so many people, but we're happy to look at them. So feel free to send us your templates and optimizations. That's how you get better, right? Practice, practice. Okay, cool. So let's add it back in here again, and let's take a look at the settings. So the first thing that you have in here is minutes per profile. Okay, minutes per profile. So with this one, what this is saying is how often do you want to get a new volume profile going? And I'm going to actually pull up the same settings so that we can look at what we're actually seeing on the chart. I think it's this one. Yeah, so this one is set to 15 minutes. So what you can see with these white lines, these are every 15 minutes, and those are resetting the volume profile. And by doing that, you have a new value area high and a new value area low. So here's where we left off, right? This is where we left off on the previous profile. Let me actually change colors because I think it'll be easier because the point of control is yellow. Let's go here. So here's our value area high. There's our value area low as we left it. You notice the next candle opens up and your value area high is here and your low is there. So we literally went way down. So that volume profile has shifted, okay, quite a bit. And then you can see the value area low kind of starts developing here. And that's where we end up. And then the high goes like that, right? And so on. So this is resetting these profiles every 15 minutes, and you can optimize based on that. You can choose what time frames you want to use, and so that is certainly a possibility. Yeah, so Rose, so everything is completely automated with this. So if it closes above the red line, that's value area high, it's going to enter at bar close. And you can see this one entered a little bit lower. That's slippage in the market, and it accounts for that, which is great. So yeah, that's how it's working. Cool. So recalculation frequency. Let's say you have it on hourly profiles and you don't necessarily want the system to recalculate every minute. Maybe you're trading an hourly profile on a 5-minute bar. Probably just makes sense to recalculate every 5 minutes. There's no sense in requiring it to recalculate every 1 minute. Versus, if you're trading on a 1-minute chart, you probably don't want to recalculate every 5 minutes. That might be a little bit too not often enough, in other words. Okay, so you have that flexibility, though, to set that to whatever you want. Value area percentage. So this is, remember we just talked about how usually value areas are 70% of the total volume. And the levels which completed 70% of the total volume of the profile, right? So in this case, 70% of this profile, when it was finished, took place in that zone. So even though price was down here and up here, the total bulk of the volume in that 15-minute time span actually took place in here. That's where the value area was. So if we color this in for a second here, right? It's the worst coloring job ever, okay? But this was the low of that profile, and I don't know, the high's in here somewhere. I can't see it anymore because I colored all over it. But that's our value, our total profile area, and most of the transactions took place in here. And that means something. That tells you something. When you're trading with volume, that is an edge. So anyway, you can customize the value area. Obviously, the larger the number, the further the market has to go in order to get a signal. If you want a faster signal, faster entry, then you would set that number lower, right? You would set it lower. So 60%, it's going to take, it's going to take trades quicker. 80%, it's not going to get as many trades too. So just so you know. Minimum bars before signal. What this is saying is how many bars do you need in your new profile from this starting point? That's bar 1, 2, 3. What happens is you're only basing on these 3 bars. You're only looking at the volume for 3 bars on a 15-minute profile. So, would that make sense to you? Well, it depends on your trading and your markets and ultimately what you optimize. What I've used a lot of the time on 30-minute profiles was requiring, like a 1 minute or something like that. You probably want to see a few bars, that calculate out the volume before you start trading based on that volume. And so that's an important factor, minimum bars before you get a signal that you can trade. That way you're not just getting, 1 bar opened. Okay, now we're closing below and you're already trading short. And so the volume hasn't developed yet. And so you could set that accordingly and you can optimize for that as well. Minimum value area high or low entry distance in ticks. Okay. So the minimum, what this is saying is how far past the value area does it need to close before it's a valid signal? So let's look at this one for an example. This one closed here and the value area high is here. So you get to set what is the minimum required distance. That way you're not like closing right at the value area high and saying, okay, I'm already in. Maybe there's not enough of a close beyond that you'd be interested in trading it. So you could set this to require the close to be up here. And in that case, it wouldn't take a trade. Now, obviously, this is already showing in a trade, but you can set the minimum distance. You can also set the maximum distance. And this is the idea that the trade might be too far gone. Like if you're closing way up here, that trade may be over with, and the bar closed and you might have missed it. And that's totally fine. So you could set a max distance too. This one's set to 24 ticks on NQ. Okay. Next, we have max signals per value area or per volume profile, essentially. So what this is saying is how many trades per volume profile are you willing to trade? This one is set to, it looks like 1. It's set to 1 signal per profile. Now, these are pretty fast profiles. They're 15 minutes, so they're pretty quick. And so you may only want 1 signal per. But if you're using, a larger time frame, say an hour, and you're using a 1-minute chart, well, you might want to be able to take a couple different trades because you might get 2 valid trades per profile. So trade it as you see fit. Of course, you can optimize that as well. Freeze value area plots. This is recommended because if you don't, it's only going to show the most recent. So like if we're here, it would only show this level and it would go all the way across. And then you wouldn't see where you've come from. So we suggest keep that checked, but it's up to you. We left you that option. Minimum closes inside the value area. Now, why would this be important? Well, if our value area high is here, and let's just go based on this bar, value area low is there. Okay. And actually value area high shifted down, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. And what this is saying is how many bars need to close inside that profile before you're willing to take a trade. It's very similar to minimum bars before signal, but the difference is these have to close between the range of value area high, value area low. This one did not, so this would not count, right? This one did not, so this one wouldn't count. This one did. So that's one, there's two, and then it closed outside, and then went back inside for 3, 4, 5-ish, 6, and then it broke. Okay, so this would be like 6 bars closing inside the value area before it broke. So you can optimize for that as well. All right, so those are the settings for the system. Make sense so far? I see some questions. Let me look through Jeff's answering these for us. So thanks, Jeff. Let me see if there's anything that we need to go over kind of all together here. Let's see, 2 deciding strategies. Yeah, I'm just adding the strategy again so that we can go through settings, because otherwise if we look at this one, you can't really see it too well. So I just add it again so we can see it. It's not enabled though. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Train entry is only based on close of candle. Yeah, it's based on close. It's bar close signal. So it's not going to be intra-bar. Yeah. So bar close only, but you can set a minimum on how far it has to go past if you want. Yeah. Long and short, obviously direction. A lot of this is in the brain training, so go through that for sure. Let's go over stop losses because we do have algo-based stop losses. So what this is doing is you're setting a minimum and maximum stop loss based on what makes sense on your chart, margins, contract requirements, and so on. And so you can set minimum and maximum stops. This one is set to the stop loss based on point of control, okay, which is this yellow lines. So let's say when we got into this trade going long, okay, the stop is based on the point of control. Now you have the option of above or below point of control. If you add a positive number, then it's going to go beyond point of control. So a positive number of 32 means that this went 32 ticks below this level, okay? If you had it set to, say, -10, then your stop loss is going to go above the point of control. In other words, closer than the point of control. Okay, and that's either direction. Closer than the point of control. If you want it further past the point of control, you use a positive number. Okay. Your other options for stops are you also have the current value area, which we call the near, meaning that you could set it to whatever this level is plus, X number of ticks. Obviously, you're not going to use a negative number for that. You'd get stopped out of every trade. But you can use this level and then plus a buffer, right? You can use point of control, which we already saw, and you can use the far value area. So if you want to use the far value area, again, you can do positive, meaning it's going to go past it, negative, meaning it's going to go closer. So you have those 3 options for the algo. You also do obviously have the option for ticks and ATR as well. Okay, so that's an option as well. Targets, you've got ticks, risk reward, and ATR multiples. And that's it. So this one's set to 0.8 R multiple. Trade start stop times, invalid trade windows. You can block certain time of day. You can block days of the week. You can block specific dates. Okay, this is all built in here. That's great. Can you adjust how many contracts? Yes, you can. There's 2 ways to do it. One is you've got your position sizing. Okay, so you have a couple options here. Static just means how many contracts are you trading? Okay, if you want to trade 5 contracts, there you go, 5 contracts. If you want to go by percent of balance, then you could say I want to risk 1% on every trade. And if you choose that, or if you choose fixed cost, which is you put the dollar amount that you want to risk, it's going to size your contracts for you. It's going to say, okay, this trade is, let's say this trade is 100 ticks. I don't know what it is, but let's just say it's 100 for easy math. And then it's going to figure, okay, on NQ, it's $5 per tick. So that would be one contract is going to equal $500 on a full size, right? So that's kind of the idea there. It'll size the position according to hit that risk calculator without going over. Yeah, you can have one contract, fixed target, and stop. And yes, you can do runners by adding an additional position. Yeah. And you just have to, you'd put how much to risk here. So it'll know how much to size the second position. If you don't put anything there, it's not going to give you an extra position. So be aware. Yeah, cool. Money management filters are built in as well. So let's talk a little bit about that. I know it's a kind of a hot topic, so we'll go through this real quick. Always set it to reset P&L on time slot because you're day traders, unless you're swing trading on a different market like Forex or stocks or something, then you're going to want to reset this every day. Daily goal. What's going to happen is if I put $1,000 in here and 3 trades in, I'm up $1,100 at the end of the trade. Then it'll turn off the system at the end of that trade and it'll stop trading for the day and it won't trade again until the next day. Daily max loss, same thing. If let's say I set it to, I don't know, whatever, it would just leave it at 1,000, right? If we're down during the day at any point, we are down more than $1,000 at the end of the trade, then it will stop trading for the day. High watermark. You have a couple options here. Okay, you've got realized, which is going to be similar to what we just talked about. So let's say I don't want to put a daily goal. Let's say it's 2,000, just for fun. But I want the high watermark to kick in once I get above $1,000. I'm sorry, percent. I'm backwards here. Once it gets above $1,000, I want it to not let me lose more than 50% of my gains. So what this is saying is that once you close a trade and you are above $1,000 after the close of that trade, then it won't let you go past 50% drawdown at the end of the trade. So if you're in a trade, you're up, let's say $1,200. Okay, and your net profit 1,200. High watermark will kick in. So it's saying at any point in time, if you're down to less than $600 at the end of the trade, then it will stop trading for the day. Okay, this is all end of trade stuff. If you have realized plus unrealized, that is how it measures the high watermark. Same token. If you set it to 1,000, you are up $1,200 intra-trade, but you close at $900, then that's still going to kick in the high watermark. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but that's the way I understand it.
Sorry, can you please repeat that?
Yeah, no worries. So if your watermark is 1,000, this is unrealized, and intra-trade you're up 1,200, but you close at 900, it would still engage the high watermark rules, right?
Well, if you only have realized, then it's going to ignore the current trade that's being played out.
Yeah.
So that's what realized means. If you add plus unrealized, then it's also taking into account the current trade that you're in, and it'll look at the high watermark, before while it's still, before it closes. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, we're on the same page. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
It can get a little bit fuzzy, so that's why we try to go through this every time and give you some insight there. So that's what those do. If you want to enable money management in your back tests, you need to check that box, and it will factor that in for your back tests as well.
Can I elaborate on that?
Yeah.
So, what money management what backtest exits is referring to is an exit where it exits mid-trade rather than waiting for the trade to complete by hitting a stop or target. Okay. Now when you're trading live, that option is not available, right? The only way it works when you're trading live is that when the money management rule is triggered, then it knows to stop trading after that trade is completed. So that trade will continue until it hits a stopper target trading live. But if you want to know how your performance would be when you're doing a back test, if you were attending the algo trading live and you were there to manually exit mid trade when it's triggered and you get that pop-up message, then you can enable that, and then in your back test the exits will be mid trade rather than at the end of the trade. Does
Yeah,
that
which
make
is
any
great.
sense?
Yeah, it's great because then when you're back testing, it's like you're sitting in front of the algo turning it off once your
Yes.
marks are
Right.
hit. Yes.
Right. We added that because, a lot of people, and it's what we recommend, is that they're attending the algo while it's running. And then if you get that money management pop-up message, you're there to click the off button from the drop-down menu to close the trade before
Yep.
it goes all the way to the stop. And
Yep.
but since you can't have mid-trade exits when you're trading live without doing it yourself, you want to be able to have the option to have your back test reflect that approach. That's why
Yeah.
we added that.
Yep. Good stuff.
Okay.
So cool. So those are all the settings for the most part. Obviously, everything is in the user manual, so be sure to go through that and keep it handy. The first week you're trading it, you might want to keep it handy just so that you can reference it if you need to, and you go, how come this trade wasn't triggered? How come this trade was? All those kind of things. You can look back at it quickly and go, oh yeah, that's fine. So yeah. As far as optimizations, let's go through and let's look at, we'll just keep it on NQ for the sake of it. And so this has been optimized, based on these numbers they've got here. So everything, is good to go for this. You may need to re-optimize, right? Some settings come out of the gate and they're just fantastic and they're the greatest thing in the world. And some of them need to be optimized again. Okay, so what we need to do is teach you how to optimize the system so that how do I get the most out of it. So let's look at a different market. Let's look at a completely different market. Somebody give me a market that you might want to trade with this system. That's kind of what I was thinking, Kenneth. Let me see. So YM, NQ, those are already ready to go for you guys. No need to do that. So we've got MCL, GC. We did MCL last time, which you should have access to in the members area, if I'm not mistaken. That as far as like the AMA, we went through it. Let's go ahead and pull up VABO, VABOs. And we'll just start it from scratch. That's fine. Now let's do GC. Let's go with GC, something different. Let's go with full size futures, all GC. I'm using the full size in case we need to flip to volume charts. There's going to be more volume on the full size GC versus micros. Okay. When you are testing, you want to try to get to start with, you want to try to get to about, call it about 100 trades, give or take, right around there though. So we're going to look at 4 weeks initially. We're going to go 6, 7, and oops. There it is, 6, 7. Let's go back. So this would be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Okay. We'll start with 4 weeks. And I'm going to start very, very wide. What I mean by that, I'm going to get a lot of trades, and then I'm going to filter out the stuff that doesn't work. Okay. So let's keep it on a 1 minute to start. We might need to bump up in size, but we'll see. We'll go with a 15-minute profile, recalculating every minute. I'm going to leave it at 70 for now. Bars before signal, I do like at 5. I'm going to leave it there to start. Ticks 2. Yeah, let's bump this up to 15. Again, we're going kind of wide. Max signals per value area. I'm going to go with 100 to start. Minimum closes 1. And I'm just going 1 contract. I don't care about, sizing just yet. Entries, that's fine. Algo stop loss. We're going to go based off of point of control. No minimum, no maximum, and we'll set a offset of 10 ticks. Let's go 5 to start. No, well, yeah, let's keep it at 5. And then profit target, we'll go 1-to-1 risk reward. That gives us a good starting point. We'll go 5 o'clock in the morning till, let's go to 1500, which is 3 o'clock. So the Eastern time, no money management, moving averages not required, but I am going to show them because I want to see them on the chart. So we'll go a 9 and 20. And we're going to do double. Sorry, this is going to be primary bars because we're going to go based on our chart, and we'll go 9 and 20. Not showing market structure, but I do want to see the VM lead as well. Okay. So it's pretty much, just give me all the trades and let's go in and look at them. This is kind of the starting of a new, optimization. This is kind of how we go about it. So start wide, narrow down. Let's see what we come up with here. And we're looking for number of trades, Okay, so I've got 476 trades. Clearly that's a lot. I want to look at how many trades I'm getting per time frame. So I'm going to start with going to half hour of day. I don't care about profitability just yet. I mean, I do, but we're not going that deep yet. So right out of the gate, we're seeing that everything looks great from about 7:30 on, with the exception of that 9 o'clock, which makes sense. So, we can look at even, 9:30 had a lot of trades, but it wasn't profitable. So we could, probably look to kick out that hour and maybe start it at 7:30, right? So this is a good first step right out of the gate to just go, okay, this makes sense to just go ahead and cut it from 7:30 to, we'll just call it to right here, which is technically 2:30, right? Because it's, cutting out the after that. So 14:30, and then I'm going to disable right out of the gate. I'm going to disable 9 o'clock. Just to make it a little extra safe, 8:59, and we're going to go till, let's go to 9:45 and see what that looks like. Give the equity open some time. All right, and we'll just call this opening. Cool. All right, let's run it again. And it's getting windy out there. Ooh. Trees are blowing around. I don't know if we got a storm coming. Hopefully I don't lose internet again this time. I was teaching a class on Wednesday and we went down for about 5 minutes. All right, so already lunchtime, looking like not so great. So we can maybe look to exclude that 12:30 to 1 o'clock. And it doesn't really make sense to exclude 11:30. But we can kick this out too and go 12:30. So let's go lunchtime. Invalid. 12:30. And we'll go to 1 o'clock. Call this lunch. Okay. And let's run it again. Okay, 9:30, still not good. So let's cut out the rest of it because we chopped it off at 9:45. So let's go to 10 o'clock. And we'll run it again. So we're kind of, we've got our chisel, I've got our stone, and we're chipping away at it, trying to make it into something that's going to be something we want to see. All right, cool. So all time frames are profitable. We're starting to get some profit out of it, starting to look pretty decent. We've still got 284 trades to work with, which is great. So our next step is we need to go to the chart. Why do we need to go to the chart? Because I want to see the trades. What are they doing? What I'm looking for is entries, stops, targets. Okay. Entry. Location. Is it good or not? Are we early entry? Are we late entry? Stops. Too big, too tight. Where are we at? Targets, same thing. Too big or too tight. So that's what I'm looking for when I look at the chart. So let's go ahead and zoom in here so I can see a little better. And I'm going to turn off the grid lines because I don't like them. I hate that it defaults to that and you can't save it. It's really kind of dumb if you ask me, but what do I know?
They need a better platform.
Yeah, I know, right? It'd be great. So this is doing static, highs and lows. So I'm gonna go in here and fix that somewhere if I find out where that's at. Freeze VA plots. There we go. Let's run it again so I can see better. I want to see where the value area high and low are relevant to the trade that is taken. Great. So I've got it back. And let's start going through some trades. So this one came in, it's kind of the end. So let's just skip that one anyway. Let's take a look at this one. Profile opened here. First close above, looks great. Great trade. Stop is in a good location, could have been a little tighter. Target, you couldn't have gotten much better than that on the target. This one came through here. Stop again, could have been a little tighter, and target was great. Let's take a look at this one. Profile open. We did get a close here, but we were still in a trade. So, this one's a tough one because it's a little more extended when it gets the trade here. These are kind of things that you want to pay attention to is like, if you're stuck in a trade from over here, you're missing this good trade right here, which would have been from, here and would have been above the point of control. How many ticks? What have we got? 5. How many did we do? Yeah, 5. So if our value or if our point of control is here, that looks like 9. So we would go, 14 ticks, and that would have been a winning trade right there that we missed. So, little things like that are good to pay attention to as well. The stop on this one is great. The target was maybe a little loose, could have been a little tighter on that one. This one, another great signal, and target was a little bit too loose because we could have caught target a little earlier here. So these are kind of things like we have already seen on multiple occasions where we can tighten up the stop. And so it probably makes sense to do that, which will also tighten up our targets because we're using risk reward multiples. This one was a pretty tight range. We really didn't have much of a range to work with, which is why that trade didn't work. There's really not any way we can filter that out other than requiring a higher close beyond the value area. And I don't know.
You can also make sure put a minimum stop size.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, make sure the stop is big enough, otherwise you just won't take trade.
Yeah.
I mean, that could work.
Then we go to this one. Obviously we didn't take the trade right out of the gate because that was like the first candle of the profile. Wait for it to develop, and then you get the signal here. Good location on the trade. Stop is a little loose again, and target is great on that one. Target on this one was a little bit loose as well. We maybe could have hit target if we tightened up a little bit. And this one looks good. Good location on that, actually. That's a big candle because you look at this is 5 ticks right there. So that's interesting. Let's go back to a different day. Let's just pick another day where we can go in and look at another sample of trades here. So, but so far I'm liking this one a lot, honestly. This one did not trigger. I'm assuming it's because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bars. Minimum closes is only 1. Maybe we might have just missed that on the candle count. So we didn't get it till here. It's still a decent entry. Stop is really loose on that. Really, really loose. Let me measure this. Hang on. So 11. Yeah, that's 100% right. Interesting. Okay. It was just a really tight market at that time. Oh, sorry, I'm going the wrong way. Let's go forward, shall we? Okay, so then we got one here. Didn't get a signal over here because it was too far gone. You're not gonna be able to see black. Hang on. Yeah, this was too far above the value area, which is why it did not take that trade. This one might have been too close to the value area. We've got it set to 2 ticks, might have been right at 2 ticks. But we got this one, which is still a great trade. Again, stop looks to be a little loose and target could have been a little tighter. So we've already kind of got an answer as far as that goes. Let's keep going and just check out a few more. All right. Could have maybe gotten the trade on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had how many closes inside? No. Actually, yes. 1, 2. No. 3, 4. So yeah, that would have been fine too. It's probably got to be a distance thing. And we didn't get the trade there. That's tough break. But I still like the trade. It's breaking the lows, and I don't see anything that looks too terrible other than the fact that we're trading into divergence, but the algo doesn't know that. And then it took a second signal on that profile. So I think getting it to only trade one is probably going to be advisable. So let's do that. And then let's take a look at this one. Came down, 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 closed above. Good stop, great target. Could have been tighter and would have been fine. This one, tough, could have been tighter. It's a stop out, can't win them all. This one breaking, came down. This one looks great. So let's try that. So let's tighten up the stop a little bit. I'm just going to do like 1 tick beyond the point of control. And I want to see what our numbers look like doing it that way. So right now we're at about 1.29 profit.
And just for everyone's benefit, that offset can be a negative number too.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. So changing that up gave us a little more profit. Actually a little less profit, but we bumped our profit factor because we filtered out a handful of trades, about 20 of them. So we didn't lose much over the course of those 20 trades. But we've got our profit factor up a little bit, which is great. So cool. Let's go ahead and save this now as GC. We'll just save it basic. It's fine. Let's go back to the chart and check out a few trades, and then we'll see where we're at. Yeah, that looks beautiful. Looks great. Very nice. Got to stop out that one. Would have been a stop out either way. Could have actually tightened this up a little bit, honestly. That one looks great. All right, so already I'm seeing that optimizing stop location is going to be very important. And then the rest of it we can optimize as well. So let's go into optimization. You're going to notice when you come over here that all the numbers have changed. So what you need to do is you need to go load the template we just saved. Come on now. Oh, it actually pulled it over into the optimization. So we're good. So now we've got our optimization ready to go. And let's go ahead and start optimizing. I'm not going to mess with volume profile timing just yet. Recalculation, I'm going to leave. I do want to optimize value area. Minimum bars before signal. We can maybe look at these. Won't get too deep into that. Minimum closes. Max signals, I'm just going to leave at 1 with a 15-minute. I don't want to be taking multiple trades per profile. And then we know we want to optimize for stop location, stop loss offset. Cool deal. All right, so let's get to optimizing. So the first thing I want to do is only do the value. Well, maybe let's do value area from 60 to 85. I'm just going to start, with increments of 5. Minimum bars before signal, I'm going to go 3 to 6. Bearing in mind, there's only 15 candles per profile, so I don't want to wait too long, right? And then I'm going to leave these alone. I'm just going to test these two first, and I'm going to test for net profit. Cool. So we've got a couple things to test here, and we've got 24 iterations. That's perfect. And we'll see how long this takes, and we'll see if I can get away with testing more different things against each other.
It's pretty fast, especially on GC.
Yeah, GC's not as big.
Meanwhile, it's staying at 1. But then once 1 is done, it'll just fly through the rest of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not too bad. Another thing I really like about this algo is there's a lot of potential in terms of what you can actually run this on. Somebody mentioned RTY, right? RTY is a bit of a wild child. It gets pretty whippy. So I would suggest if you're trading with RTY, you probably want to stick with 10 o'clock and after Eastern time and try it on range charts, on 15 range bars, and set your profiles to maybe 30 minutes and set it to a 15 range, and then do like 20 ticks or something like that right around there. And you might be able to get some really great templates with that one. So hint, hint. Okay, so we got our numbers back. Nothing really improved other than, we've got a few less trades with this one with a better profit factor on this second one. So, we kept it at 70 based on that, and this one's at 70 as well. So what we'll do is we'll go 65 to 75. And we'll go by ones. Did you guys lose me? Am I still with you? You guys still hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, cool. All right. And then minimum bars before signal came back at 5 and 6. So most of them are 4, 5, 6. So I'm just going to leave this at 5. It didn't really make any meaningful difference. So we'll leave that at 5 and kind of lock that in. Minimum distance, I'm going to go 1 to 4. Max distance, I'm going to go 10 to 20. And let's run it this way. So I've got 11 plus 4, so that's 44. That's going to be a lot. That's like 200. Let's try that. At least it's half the number of iterations. I'm trying to have machine. Yeah, send a message to support, Marvin. They'll help you. Yeah, that's an easy fix for them. Just support at nstradingacademy.com. Or you can go to the ARC website and just click support and send a ticket in. And they got you covered. So it'll say like a lot of times starting out, and then it'll kind of go down pretty quick. I don't know why it does that, but we'll see. Once we get into it a little bit, we'll see how much time. Yeah, see, it's already 18, 15, keeps going down, 16, 13. If it keeps going down, I'll leave it. If it's going to stay at like 10 minutes, I'm probably going to bail. I don't want to sit here for 10 minutes. It seems to be going kind of quick. So we're a minute in. Yeah, I guess it is kind of a big test. I don't think this is going to take us 13 minutes. I mean, we're already like maybe 20% the way there on a minute and a half. Seems to be doing about one iteration per second. Yeah, so we're probably looking at like 220 seconds, about 4 minutes. So it's not too terrible. We'll let this thing run. Good time to grab a refill on water or whatever you need. We'll just give this a few minutes to run. Anybody have any questions while this is running? Scheduled date for the 5-day conference? Yes. The week of June 24th. Yeah, what's going to look like? A lot of training, lots and lots of training on algos. We're going to go over basically all of them. Hopefully getting some updates on some of the algos as well. We'll see. That's the plan. Will it be recorded? Of course it'll be recorded. Gotta record it. Won't let you set it to real. What do you mean it won't let you set it to real? Are you using it on the chart? Or are you using it in the back tester? Is it like a 1 hour per day? No, it's 3 hours. 3 hours a day. It's a big one. Cost of the 5-day training. I don't know. I think it's free.
I
Don't hold
think
me to
so.
that.
I think it
Don't
is.
don't hold me to it though. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think that's
Either
the
free or $1,000. I don't know, one of the two.
it's a pretty big difference. Yeah, not entirely sure, but I think it is free. Um, don't hold me to it. We're going to be doing it during trade room hours too, guys, just so you know. There's only so much time in a day, so that will take place of the trade room that week. We decided to do it during summer because summer trading is kind of slower anyway. So, any difference selecting Pacific time versus Eastern? Yes, there's a massive difference. So, if you are in Pacific time, then you want to set all of your back testing for Pacific times. If you try to run an Eastern time while your computer is set to Pacific time, it's going to be it's not it's going to be running 3 hours late. Yeah. Which week is the training? It's the week of the 24th. Yeah. We're putting it all together over the next couple days here, getting it ready. I think it's 9 to noon. Yeah, exactly. If your VPS is set to Eastern time, then yeah, set it to Eastern. All right, so this is taking a little longer than what I was hoping. I'm sorry, but at this point, I don't want to abort because I've come this far. I don't want to have to redo it again. Anybody got any fun plans for the weekend? Anything good going on out there? Anybody got any teams in the finals for the NHL, NBA, anything like that? Any pricing for Tick Blaze yet? Yes, of course we do. I can't tell you what it is, but but yeah, we have pricing. Dallas, cool. Well, good luck, Willie. Panthers. All right. Sweet. Yeah, no worries. Very well with MGC. Yes, Ronald. I should have just let Ronald run this whole event because, he's killing it. So, Ronald, just take it away, man. It's all yours. Guys, go into Discord and see what Ronald's been doing with this algo. He's got it locked in. Like I should have just consulted with him and said, give me your settings and we'll go through those together because he's got it down. So optimize the Dallas defense. Love it. Where is Discord? I think it's in a small remote island off the coast of Asia or something. No, I'm just kidding. Let me give you the link. Yeah, next to Telegram. Um, Mostly pre-market, Ronald says. Mostly pre-market, which makes a ton of sense. Good move on that one. Let's see, community and Discord. Copy. There you go. There's the link. You just click on that, and then you can subscribe to our servers, and then you'll see all the different algos and all the people showing you how much money they're making with all these algos, different ones. Yeah, pre-market trading has been good for him, is what he's saying. Yep. Five more minutes. Come on now. I don't have anything to talk about for the next 5 minutes. What do you guys want to talk about for 5 minutes? Anybody do any trading today? How was it? And we had a big news release. Was it chaos? A lot of sideways action on CL. Oh yeah, news definitely rocked the markets. Definitely. Equities. Equities definitely moving. It was a pretty nice VWAP trade at 11. I don't know if anybody took that one. Those of you that are trading the VWAP setup. It was nice on S&P. Um, yeah, Alonzo, I would say watch the brain training. Definitely watch that one and then go through the manual and see what's going on. Server name, I don't know. It's just Neuro Street. Does VABO or CWAP take into account smart money concepts? No, not really. No, not really. How will TickBlaze handle optimizations? You know how Santa Claus gets around the world in one night and like delivers presents to all the children all over the world in a very, very short amount of time? That's what Tick Blaze is going to do. It's going to be like taking what seems realistic and it's going to make it like a whole nother level. It's like it's going to seem unreal. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. That's a great question, Dean. How often do you recommend optimizing each algo for each market? Depends. Depends on how many trades you're getting per week and per month and so on. I would say for me, being a day trader, I would optimize 4 weeks of data and I would trade it for a week and then re-optimize at the end of the week. That's always been my approach to it. And I feel like that's a very good way to go. Just check it every week. You may not end up with any different settings, but why not always have the best? On that note, let me show you something, actually. Let's check it out. So this was a template for the VABO that was optimized on May 3rd. It looks pretty good, right? 25,000, profit factor 1.8, not too bad on the drawdown compared to profit, looks pretty good. 240 trades. The question is, what are the results of trading based on that optimization for the following week? So from 5.6 to 5.10, it had a profit factor 1.3, max drawdown 1190, made 3,500 bucks. So not bad, pretty decent. Then what if you optimized it again the following week and just a couple parameters changed, nothing major. The only thing I optimized was value area and max number of signals. 22,000 in net profit, and that was 422 to 510. So what are the results from 513 to 517? 3,900, 2,000 max drawdown, 1.38 profit. So that's my personal suggestion, but it's obviously up for debate on what works for you. But I would say optimize 4 weeks of data, optimize each week. That's always been the best thing that I've seen. So you got money on the line, right? We all know about 95% of traders don't make money. Well, what are you going to do that's different? Are you going to just pretend that the algo is going to make all your wildest dreams come true, or you're going to have a little skin in the game? Are you going to do some optimizations? Make sure you're always putting your best foot forward. Money is on the line. If you're going to risk money, do it the right way. Is this the best of all algos from on the Discord? From Discord, yes. Discord's been lighting on fire with this algo. So Ronald said he got funded on MGC, 9 wins last night. So he's gotten funded 3 times over using this algo, right, Ronald? Using the VABO algo. So clearly something's working. All right, finally we got back and nothing much changed. All that for nothing. All right, let's see what we got. So before we had 262, we got 6,500 back. So we really haven't changed much. Yeah, he was saying that's on the VABO. Okay. Hard time optimizing. Maybe making it a little harder than it needs to be. Like, I think that's probably a factor. Okay, so we came in, you could see the numbers here, 65 to 70 was really kind of the sweet spot. There's really no difference across the board. So I'm just going to leave it at 70 because there's not much difference. So we'll leave that at 70. It didn't make any difference there. Minimum distance, sorry, is 5. No, 2. Minimum bars is 5. So 2, 2, 4, 4, 3, 3, 4. Not making much of a difference. We've got a lot less trades and same amount of profit though. So you want to kind of take that into consideration. Yes, the drawdown is lower here, but you got a lot of trades and the profit factors are a little better on some of these with more restrictions at 4, and this one was also 4. So I'm actually going to bump this up to 4 because I feel like there's no sense in taking additional trades without additional profit, right? We can agree on that. Max distance, let's look through. So we have 14, max distance 20, 20, 20, 16. Again, not much of a difference. I think we're probably 15 to 20. We'll just say 14 to 20. I'm going to lock that in, lock that one in, lock that. Minimum closes. Let's see if restricting this does us any good. And we'll just go through a couple settings in here. Let's do this by ones just for fun. And we'll just run these two against each other. This one's only 35, so it's not going to take that long. Time and volume, the only two options for back testing. No, great question. So I'm going to read this one out. I started using, picked up 10 points in ES. That's great, Jay. Very nice. Always good to see the first trade win. Doesn't always work that way. So is time and volume the only two options for back testing on NinjaTrader that work? I know Renkos don't work, for example. So here's where we get to shine, because what we have done is we've completely changed the back end of how NinjaTrader optimizes and back tests with our algos. Literally, we've redesigned it. So what our algos are doing is they're looking at uptick and downtick to figure out where the trades are, regardless of what type of bar you're using. So from that sense, you can use it on anything, and you should get a really, really solid back test on anything you test. So with our algos, it thankfully is a non-issue. So yeah, so we've got that covered. We also do have custom Renko bars as well. So those do have the wicks. So if you want to, have those as well, just for visual sake, you can. When Apex says no daily drawdown, is there a catch? Yeah, there's no max daily drawdown, but you still got your trailing drawdown. There's always a catch. So I didn't feed my computer its Wheaties this morning, so it's running a little slower today. I feel like these should be coming through a little quicker, but I don't know. Profit factors and CWAP and volume divergence very high. Maybe they are. I don't know. It's good to hear. Yep, we recorded this, Scott. We got you covered. Yeah, we'll send it out. Good thing is you can fast forward through the through the optimizations. Yes, trailing drawdowns do go away at 52,600 in your performance account. All right, so we got it back. A little less trades. And yeah, we whittled it down some more. Profit factor bumped up a little bit. We do have some more with some better profit factors as well. How much profit are we sacrificing? Just a few $100. So already I'm seeing that these are probably the way to go. This was set to max 19, minimum 2 closes. I think that kind of makes sense. So let's lock these in. And we'll go 19, if it'll let us. There it goes. 19. Cool. So those are all set. Now, the only other thing I really need to do here is test for the stop placement, and then we'll retest on the targets. What I want to look at here real quick, though, is time of day as well. We may get into a position where we can kind of open this up a little bit. I'm not going to get into this just yet. I'll come back to it at the end. No, do not turn on tick replay. Yeah, you'll actually kind of mess everything up. All right, stop loss minimum is going to be -3. Maximum is going to be 5. And I'm just going to run just that one. Just that one setting. Now, the good thing is once you've got your optimization, you don't have to go through and re-optimize all this stuff again. There's some stuff that you're going to want to optimize and some stuff that you don't. Something like the stop placement, once you get your number, you might have a variance of, 2 ticks to either side that you have as your variance. When you get minimum closes inside value area, you might have 1 or 2. Or 3, something, it doesn't need to be very, very crazy. Value area might be 65 to 75. Minimum bars before signal, you might test that. I don't know. But the point is you don't have to go through and optimize this stuff all over again each time. That'd be kind of chaotic, right? A few more trades on this one gave a better profit factor. So let's roll with this one. A little less profit, actually. So I guess technically we should probably go with the first one. What's this one? Yeah, that's 120 as well. Let's go back to this one. All right, so we came up with a distance of 4. Is that -4? No. Okay, that's 4. Stop loss offset was 4. Let's test the risk reward against that now. So let's go profit targets of 0.8 is kind of the minimum that I like, but we're going to go down to 0.5 and we'll go to 2. And we're just going to go by, let's go by, well, you can go by 0.1. I don't think that'll take too long. Excuse me. And then we should be able to wrap up pretty relatively soon. I don't think we have a ton left to test on this one. Okay, it's coming along. All right. So yeah, nothing really changed. So that's fine. So 1-to-1 was kind of the name of the game. We didn't get any more profit by changing that. So we'll keep it at 1-to-1. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is save it again. Call it GC. And we're going to go to backtest mode now because I'm kind of done optimizing. What I want to look at now, though, is time of day. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off these blockers. And I want to see what the entire scope of the time of day looks like. And then we can go back and filter out certain times. Odds are it's going to be the same, times blocked out that we looked at originally. Yeah, so 5,600 on 154 trades. So our profit did come down a little bit. Let's go to half hour of day. We can see 8:30 was not a good time for us. We did have 16 trades. So I think that's kind of meaningful enough. If you've got one that has really like no time or no trades in that time, then kind of don't really worry about it. So that's interesting. So 9:30 to 10 was not profitable. We had 13 trades, about break even, a little less than that. 8:30 was not good. 11:30 was down 670, but 12 o'clock was up 1150. So I don't know. To me, I'm like, do you really want to mess with these when you can focus on these and just block out these two time frames? Seems to be kind of the more sensible thing to do. Let's look at it that way. So let's block 8:15 to 8:45. I'm going to start with that because what I'm thinking is we're probably getting caught up in that 8:30 news release. Gold likes to go nuts off the news. Just absolutely loses its mind. So, and then I want to block off the open of the equities 9:15 to 9:45. And let's see what that looks like first. And then we can widen these out or tighten them up if we need to. All right, and we're going to cut this off at 11:30. And we'll just chop all this away. It's hit or miss during those times. So it's like you don't want to block this half an hour and then block this half an hour. Like it's just doesn't seem to be worth it. Simpler is better, right? Who develops the user manuals? Jeff, who develops our user manuals? That would be
some guy that is up late at night when no one else is awake and working on things. I don't know who.
Yeah, I have a couple ideas. So in this case, actually 8:30 and on was really the issue. So let's fix this. Let's go 8:25 and let's block to let's go to 9 o'clock is fine. And then let's block let's go 9:25, 10 o'clock. Let's see what that looks like. I want to kind of catch that 5 minutes before at least. Yeah, Jeff does all of our user manuals. He's the perfect guy for it. I would probably, this is morbid, but I would like go jump off a bridge or something if I had to do them. There's no way I could do it.
I've thought about doing that a few times.
Yeah, don't do it. Stay with us. Yeah, no, there's no way I could do it. Okay, so we got our profit factors up to 2.35. We chopped down the number of trades without chopping down our profit. So that was a good change. Our max drawdown is only 720. This is looking pretty good. So let's go back to the analysis. Time of day looks great. We didn't get any trades during that time, so that's fine. Let's go to cumulative. Looking good. Tough day yesterday, but other days look pretty good. And equity curve looks great. So this is kind of an idea of how you do the optimizations. I'll go ahead and save this and save it as GC first. And then let's give it a real name. Let's call it VABO GC 1 minute. Times are already factored in there, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I do want to call it updated through 6/7. And this is Eastern time. Let's do it this way. Eastern time, 6/7. Saved. There you go. I'll post this in Discord for everybody. This is 1-to-1 at 68%. Solid. Now, somebody had asked about filters, like moving average filters, momentum filters. With this algo, in particular, I don't feel like it's really needed. The reason I say that is because this system is already kind of directionally biased based on the volume and the value area. So because of that, I don't think you really need to mess with filters too much. Anytime I have with this algo, it didn't really do much good. So I think rather save you the time and headache and just, propose that if you're kind of trading at an area that you really don't want to trade in, just flip it off. Well, not don't flip it off, but turn it off. If it's trading when you don't want it to, just give it the middle finger and tell it what's up. No, but you can turn it off and just turn it back on when you're ready to trade it again. So that's my suggestion on that. Sweet. What else? What else do we need to cover? Will we get the same results trading the micros? No, no, you won't, because the volume is going to be different from the full size versus the micros. So therefore, your value area is going to be totally different as well. So you will have to optimize for micros as well. Yeah, it'll be totally different. Oh, I do want to look at one thing before we go, and we're going to wrap up here in a minute. What I do want to do for new buyers, send an email. It's in the members area, John. If you need help, just reach out to support. They got you covered. Let me paste the this in Discord here. Hang on. But I will say Ron has settings on micro gold. So just dig through the Discords and it should be there. Upload GC VABO is here. Yeah. So I don't know how good this setting is going to be. This is the first time I've optimized GC. So here's the assumption, okay? Just to set you up for success here. Don't email us next week and say, oh my God, your template lost me all this money. Okay, step one, trade in sim. This is the first time this has ever been put together on this instrument. Trade it in sim for a week. Then go back and re-optimize at the end of the week for 4 weeks. If it still looks about the same, great. That's a good sign. Trade it another week in sim. Go back and optimize it again. If it still looks pretty similar, great, you're on the right track. At that point, you can start considering, well, I might put a little bit of money on it. And then you add a little bit more, right? So the point is, don't go swinging full swing the second you get it on your chart, okay? The other thing is expect to need to optimize it a couple times. Very rarely do you get the first optimization out of the gate and it's the greatest thing in the world. You might have to optimize it a couple times to see what works and what doesn't. And that'll kind of give you your regular settings that you're going to kind of use. It'll also give you your guardrails on how far you swing one direction or the other when you're testing different parameters and optimizing. Okay. So that's good. So let's go in here. I want to do one last thing and then we're going to wrap up. I want to look at this because I'm highly curious and curiosity killed the cat. So luckily I'm not a cat. Let's go to RTY. If the settings are full size or the minis and you want to trade on micros, then yes, plan on optimizing those. VABO. Let's start with 30 minutes, recalc 1 minute, value area 70, minimum bars 3, max distance, minimum 2, max 20, signals, minimum closes 2. That's fine. Backtest, enable, minimum, whatever. POC, let's go 15 actually. And I'm actually going to disable algo stop loss because I want to just go static ticks. I want to go 20. And risk reward 1-to-1, that's fine. And let's go 10 o'clock to noon o'clock. And let's block nothing Come on now. Let's do this. Okay. Off with your head. And then here, off. There we go. Skip days are fine. I don't need any fancy stuff here. I just want to see what this looks like because I'm really curious. That's about kind of what I was thinking. Strategy. Shazam. And just like that. All right, so there was a losing day. Let's go look at these trades. See what we got. I mean, don't you just love it when things come together like that? You're like, yeah, I feel like this could work. How do I know it could work? Because I used to trade this. Maybe we do need POC stops. Maybe not. Looks good. Couple stop outs on that one. This, yeah, definitely stop out no matter what on these. That looks good. Could be something here. I would suggest checking this out. We can add more days on here and see what it looks like just for fun. We'll give it a second to load. Yeah, needs to be optimized, but good starting point. Let's see. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. This one's tough. You're trading back into the highs. But this got out at noon because it's set to exit at noon. Otherwise, that trade would have almost hit. I can't see the wick on this candle though, so I'm not sure. I assume it would have been a stop out either way, but stop was a little tight on that one. And this was pretty far extended. I'm surprised because of the number of bars required. So that actually hurt us on this one. It would have been better off just to have one bar required. Yeah, interesting. All right, something to look at, something to check out. I think take some time, go through this. There could be something here. You might want to try a 20 range as well and see what you get. Toy around with different value area times and stuff like that. So yeah, it could be interesting. So cool. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Do you guys need anything? Any questions before we finish up? Call it a day. Everybody got what you need? What do you think? Did you learn something? Good. Sweet. Excellent. I'm more intrigued by more of the recent stuff on RTY here. But it is summer, so maybe those timeframes might need to be kind of cut down a little bit for summer trading. I don't know, but I think there could be something here. I've traded this on, it might have been this or might have been ES, but I've traded this setup before. So yeah, good. Good stuff. All right, guys, have a great weekend. We will see you back on Monday, those of you that'll join us in the trade room. And otherwise, happy trading with the algo, and we'll see you soon. Cool deal. All right, guys, take care. Cheers. Adios.